that, and Facebook. Go live. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, hello. We're live.
We're live.
Ross, Kavanagh, hello.
The Colonel, how are you going?
I'm going good. Welcome to Drink Beer, Play Guitar, the highly intellectual show.
I love this show. That's one of my favourite Saturday afternoon viewing habits
cool.
I'm into. Yeah, it's great.
It's like, what were the Saturday afternoon shows when you grew up, Ross?
On the telly,
Yeah.
I was usually old black and white movies, you know, Shirley Temple.
Jerry Lewis.
The Nutty Professor.
Nutty Professor.
Again, every Saturday. I think they played it most Saturdays. The Nutty
and
Professor.
a Disney thing on 7 or something.
Yeah.
Now, Ross, a little bit jerky there on the stream. Tell the viewers what you do.
I'm a radio producer for ABC Radio, and I guess I really came from sound recording. That's my main thing. I used to be a commercial radio producer. I wanted to be George Martin.
Yeah.
However, that didn't happen. I got a job in radio and stayed in it. And yes, I'm back. I come from the tape days, multi-tracks, 16 tracks, and
Reel to reel.
now with computers, I'm right aboard that. So. And because of the way the world is these days, I'm now leapt over to radio producing, so that's organising guests for radio programs and
very nice.
that sort of stuff. Yeah,
cool.
So,
cool. How did you get into that?
Look, I was a kid, did work experience at a radio station that no longer exists in Melbourne called 3XY.
3XY.
And they were like the hottest rock station in the town, and so from that I. Left school and just wandered into a station called 3AW.
Did you? Oh, so
I knocked on doors. I was 18. I left school, knocked on doors, and said I'd like a job in radio. Well, there weren't courses as such. There was a media studies course, but I wanted to do sound engineering, and radio stations in Australia were and still are very well equipped for recording compared to a lot of overseas stations. We were like, we had proper studios. 3AW revamped the studio and it cost us $200,000 or $300,000.
Wow!
Just for to record ads in.
That's the whole budget of the ABC.
It is for several years, as it turns out.
Do you have chairs to sit on there anymore? Have they?
We have those. Everyone's got those bouncy balls, because you're back. You know, you've got to do all that sort of stuff. But there's a few of those lying about. But
gender neutral. As well, they are
open to all sorts.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming, Ross. No, I know you're a guitar fan.
I love guitars. I love guitars, and I'm tempting to be a player.
Yep.
And of course, I actually met you because lots of men my age, this is going back several years now, had trouble walking into guitar shops where a 15-year-old kid would give you a guitar, rip off a solo, hand you the guitar, and go, "Come on, show us what you got." It's like,
and then walk away.
Yeah, and so but I walked into your guitar shop, and you just said, "Oh yeah, take a guitar," and you had no interest at all in
no interest
at all in the person
in serving customers.
No,
zero.
No, it was just you and Panda sitting on a chair. It was just strange.
Our motto here is "Customers serve themselves." And hello, if you've joined us, Michael Ray has joined. Michael's always here. He knows you as Tubby from the Red Symons show.
Yes. Yes, I am Tubby.
I wasn't going to go there.
But well, you've gone there, haven't you?
You're wearing,
good on you.
At least you're wearing black. So, slimming for the camera. And you wore long pants.
I did, because you told me to, and you're wearing shorts, and it's 38 degrees outside.
I know.
It's so annoying. I can't tell you, but I woke up this morning and I watched you this morning when you had shorts on. I thought, you told me several times. It's the only prep I've had for this program was
the jeans.
Don't wear shorts. But no other prep at all.
If it's any consolation, where you're sitting, Ross, is always worse if you're wearing shorts. Now, Ross, you are also a celiac.
I am.
Tell me about that.
So, God.
How'd you acquire that? In
acquired
darkest Peru?
Well, I was quite fit at one stage, and I was running around Albert Park, as it was. And a friend of ours was a journalist, and she wanted to know whether I would like to do a fitness test, because they had a little segment back in the day when they had all those great Sunday newspapers with lots of magazines.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, there's no brainer. You know, I'm running around, I'm fine. Do the test, do the blood test, and the doc says,
you've got AIDS.
You've got a lack of iron, as it turns out.
Sorry.
He said, are you bleeding? I said, sorry? He said, are you bleeding? And I was like, no. And so he said, no, you've got to go see someone straight away. As soon as I walked the specialist said, you've got celiac disease. We'll do all the tests, but he was right. And it was back in the day when there wasn't a lot of it around.
No.
Well, it was around, but not many people diagnosed with it.
No gluten-free section in the supermarket then?
No, in fact, I did a course, a short course, cooking course, and one of the ladies walked out with me and she just said, my life's over. This is terrible. My life's over. And I thought, oh, it's not that bad. I mean, and as it turned out, you know, it's better because it's sort of trendy now, which is a bad thing, because people like me walk into a shop and they go, oh, it's gluten-free, as they hand you, you know, the gluten-free thing with the gluten-filled tongs, you know, that they've just made someone else's sandwich with. And it's
the
all
sauce, they put the soy sauce with all the gluten.
Yeah, so that's always a problem.
Do you use that, is it tamari? Tamari, the soy sauce without the gluten? Yes, that's the
gluten-free one. That is
it.
But a lot of them now, those, you know, sushi places, I think it's one with the purple lid might be gluten-free. I think there's a code. I think that's the way it works. But a lot of them are gluten-free now. So.
But you're not going to drop dead. You just get pretty sick and...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't you go dying on me now. Now, Ross, this show is about guitars and it's also about beer. And before we dig some dirt up on Ross's career, we'll give him a beer.
And I can tell you, when I first got celiac disease or diagnosed, there wasn't much, if any, beer to choose from. Yeah. And O'Brien's was one of the first Australian, Victorian. And
they're Victorian. That's
great. So, pretty sure.
100% gluten-free, naturally crafted O'Brien Pale Ale, 4.5%. So you can have, as I said, Alan, 7 or 8 of these and still make it home in the motor vehicle, and or possibly not.
And I would go on their website while they had started up the company, and they'd say we're brewing a new batch, and it took several years to perfect the beer, and they've perfected the beer.
It tastes quite good. I have had these a long time ago, but let's pop them open. I'll do the honours for you.
Thank you.
I'll do this one for you.
Yeah, so it's one of those. Of course, you know, if you if you go out, you know, you can't go to the pub and say I'll have a beer, because then, you know. But you know, I tend to supplement this with cider, and of course there's lots of ciders now. Cheers.
Oh, one for the promo. There we go. Fantastic.
Good.
Let's taste this. While you're doing that, let's see who we've got on this afternoon. Oh, it's just Michael Ray. All right, fair enough. And on YouTube, do we have anybody? Okay, that's looking pretty good. Live stream health. So let's taste this.
So what do you reckon?
That's actually pretty good. That's surprisingly good. It feels like it's just missing something, but it's not that noticeable, really.
No, and you know, it's like all these things. You do get used to that something, that missing something. You get used to it not being
used to that a lot in my life, Ross. My life always feels like it's missing something. But now, Ross, now that you've had a little bit of beer,
I'm
going to ask you. You've worked with some pretty well-known people. I'm going to change the names. And and I'll ask you a question about this person. Okay.
All right.
Aaron Finch. Aaron Finch.
Yes.
He enjoyed a drink.
He did. He did enjoy a drink.
Tell me about a lunch with Aaron.
Oh no, he was very good to his staff, I have to say, in the radio station that I worked with him, and he would often have Friday lunches, and they were quite big, and invite everyone along, or all the working people he worked with. Yeah. Back in the day, they were at the Underground. Do you remember that?
Where was that?
I don't know whether lunch was there. Maybe lunch was.
I think
everyone ended at Underground. It was a nightclub, and he was also, of course, he wrote a diet book. I think it was 2 bottles of wine and a day, and several bowls of soup or something. Guaranteed to lose weight.
What year are we talking here?
Oh, we're talking 80s.
80s.
Yeah, 80s. Yeah, late 80s.
He lives right beside me, or 2 doors down.
Does he?
Yeah, he does.
Really?
On St Kilda Road.
You see him scuttle off to the bottle shop?
I have an Aaron Finch story. I've met Aaron a couple of times, and every time he sees me, if you're wondering who Aaron Finch is, I'm changing the name to protect his identity.
He'd be taking those anti-rejection drugs, wouldn't he? Because he's got a new liver.
Well,
hasn't he?
I certainly saw him with 2 bottles of wine, so maybe he's washing them down.
You would,
with,
yes.
Yeah. No,
absolutely.
Panda has met him a few times, and
okay.
he's always with some lady. And then the other day, what was this, last year? End of last year, I went over to, which was a Chinese place, and now it's a Thai place. So we went to the Chinese place, and he's there. It's Aaron Finch, and a very well-known actress from the 70s. Have a guess who it might be.
Jackie Weaver.
No.
Linda Stoner.
Linda Stoner.
They were former... they were engaged to be married at one stage, I'm pretty
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
And she was heavily into animal activism, and
Right,
hence Darren, I think, adopted that policy as well too.
Okay. Well, they came up, they saw Panda, and she picked up Panda. And he had, I think, maybe 3 bottles of wine. So it's only a couple of months ago. And a bunch of dumplings. And so I walked back across the road with Aaron Finch.
He was no doubt sharing them though.
Yeah, it was probably for guests.
Yes.
And anyway, so interesting character. Now, Ross, you used to come in here for the odd lesson, and what's been going on?
Well,
you're doing some playing. You got any questions? I'm here to help.
Yes, because the pentatonic scale, which of course we all sort of know. But I have noticed a lot of people are playing according to whatever chord they play, and rather than saying this is in A minor and you stick to this scale where you just slide up and down.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I've been reading a lot lately about the songs changing every time someone changes the chord. You change accordingly.
Yeah. Here's my thought on that.
Yeah.
If someone's just jamming, you know, A minor to C to G, I'm not going to change for every chord. Right. I might hit a note that emphasizes that, but I just think of it as in a key, in terms of a key. So I would be thinking, which keys, and I'll explain keys to you. Mm-hmm. Imagine you're driving down Musical Street after 7 or 8 O'Briens, and there's different houses, and they have a colour.
Yeah.
And so the first house is the house of C.
Yeah.
And inside the house, there's scales and there's chords.
Yep.
And the chords come from the scales on the notes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's how I think of it. I think, what colour is the house? So A minor, C and G can be in 2 different keys. Okay, it can be in the key of C.
Yes.
So I can play a C scale over that.
Yes.
Or I can play a C pentatonic. That's just dropping it. Pentatonic just drops out the 4th and the 7th. They call them the fire engine notes.
Really?
It's after you have your 8 O'Briens and drive home. That's you'll be.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha.
So if I get rid of that, it becomes this. Sorry. That very well-known scale that everybody knows. So if I want to put those notes back in, I can. There it is. There's an F. It is the 2nd string 6th fret.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I can also, we might check our tune in a minute. And sounds like The Godfather.
Yeah.
And a B would be here. So that is the 3rd string 4th fret. So now I have these excellent notes that I can play. So if you play an A minor chord for me.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I think I'm slightly out of tune. Now the other option is these 3 chords also belong to the key of G. Yep. And G has an F sharp instead of an F natural.
Yep.
Okay, so it has the B. So this now becomes this. I might just check my...
Which was going to be, which is part of...
Yeah. So, and that's what's called Dorian scale.
Oh, right.
The,
yeah, okay.
Sort of a Santana-y sort of sound, I guess. So now I have... So here's my normal A minor pentatonic.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm going to add in the 4th and the 3rd string, I'm going to add in the 4th fret. Those 2 notes.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to add them in the octave higher, which is the 7th fret. So now I have my normal scale. I've got these extra notes. So if you play an A minor. Okay.
Yeah, right. Gotcha. Now I gotcha.
So now you can play, so add those notes in. Right. I can play those same chords.
Right. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
So I'm not actually searching for the chord change. I'm thinking in terms of the key, but I want to give it a flavour or a colour. And that flavour, when you add those 2 notes, the F sharp and the B, that's called Dorian mode.
And
Thank you, that will be $1,000, please.
And what note are you trying to get back to? Say you're playing the lead break with those, and so are you trying to get back to the note that's the scales come from, the main?
Well, you can pinpoint the, like if you're playing A minor, C, and G.
Yeah.
I can pinpoint those notes and try and hit them every time it changes.
Okay.
So
right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I can add those extra notes in and really just emphasize the A and the C.
Oh,
because that's what you're doing.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Added extra bits.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I like that. No,
what is that beautiful guitar you're playing?
This is my new Telecaster. It's actually not mine. It's yours, isn't it?
Yes.
It's beautiful.
The
Look at this.
51 Telecaster Relic.
And I'm not a fan of gold, but I like the faded gold in this sort of way.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's subtle. It's very subtle. Now, that's a 51 Heavy Relic Telecaster.
Which means someone got a bit of sandpaper and old tea bags.
But they dragged it behind
right?
a ute in
do?
Deniliquin for 50 miles, and then they put it together.
I did read, probably a year ago, there was a mob in the States which you would give your new guitar to them, and then they would. Oh, that's what you do. I've seen people do that. Is it what? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, folks.
That's right.
And they would take it out on the road for you for however long they play, and then give it back to you all banged up.
That's
great.
I'm going to add that onto my business.
Properly road worn. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know how that business went, but it started up about a year or two ago. Yeah.
Well, there was a guy that came around here and they were doing the rental thing. And he was trying to sell me on the rental model. And he said, we can probably do it for secondhand guitars. And I'm like, okay. So someone takes it out, rents it, and beats the shit out of it. And then, how does that work? What? He's like, don't worry, we cover everything. You're going to pay for it. Amazing. Now, folks, we've had an O'Brien Pale Ale with Ross, and now it's ready to, and I had a drum machine a drum roll all lined up.
But I would have brought my boombox and done it myself.
Do it. Ross, you work with Red Symons.
I did.
For a long time.
I did. Yes.
I've met him. He shoulder charged me at the St. Ali's. And I'm still, it's not quite right, so I'll probably sue him, but he was lovely.
Yeah, we used to regularly go to St. Ali's. Yeah, it was good.
And then I woke up one day and he was no longer there.
No.
What happened?
Not.
Tell me. You can tell no one's watching.
Well, it's like a lot of these things. They didn't renew his contract. When you've only got a year contract at that stage and they don't renew it, you don't come back.
How long have you been there, though?
Ooh, 13 years, 14 years, 15 years. I'm not sure exactly.
Right.
Look, you know, that's the management decision, and that's the way it is. And Red's one of those guys. Look, you know, that's the sort of life he's always led.
Yes.
In fact, probably the ABC job has been the longest one he's had, I would think,
Yeah.
in terms of almost a real job.
Yeah.
You know, Monday to Friday, because
Yeah.
being obviously a musician and then working on Hey Hey, they weren't sort of full-time gigs.
No.
You know, but
He did all right for a musician, for a guitar player.
he did all right for. I think he was the Duke Guitarist of the Year 1978. I
Really?
think.
Wow.
Yes.
I was a huge fan of his when I was a kid. I had the Skyhooks t-shirt and everything.
Yeah. My older brother
I'm just a
came
couple of-
home with the Living in 70s album, and
Oh,
we
really?
quietly played "You Just Like Me Because I'm Good in Bed." I think it was on the
Oh,
album, because that was a bit naughty.
That
of course.
wasn't naughty.
But yeah, so I sort
That
of grew up
song
with his
was
music, but
released,
not
yeah.
being a real Skyhooks fan. But I knew, obviously, his Hey Hey Saturday stuff, but we really connected over the recording and that sort of thing, and recording technology, and because there was the time when I met him, you know, it was a real explosion in the whole software, recording software, and you know, plugins and all that sort of stuff. Which, of course, when you've come from hardware, you know, a reverb machines back in the day was $3,000 or $4,000. You know, you only had one, and you maybe had back in the day we had a sample machine which would do 2 or 3 seconds sample. Then that was a fortune. So you know, you didn't have a lot to play with, and you had a compressor, which again would have been, you know, anything from, you know, 2 or 3 to several $1,000s, and microphones. So all that stuff's a lot of money. But of course, suddenly, hello, we've got this, you know, software that's just online, and we were sort of playing with that. So we'd often have discussions about that, which is how we formed up a really good relationship.
Were you at the ABC before him?
No, I actually had left my job as production manager at 3AW to go and do
3AW.
to that station to do nothing.
Okay.
Because I worked there and I had to deal with my wife. That's what happened. But to cut a long story short, I ended up at the ABC because she'd gone to the ABC, because she's a producer, Lisa Greeno.
Yeah.
And
Hi, Lisa.
And I followed her.
Can we talk about your guitar collection? Is Lisa on?
She knows my guitars. So yes, so we I turned up as I was actually writing promos and producing promos, and then we just formed a relationship, and then I would help out as a panel operator now and again, and that's where I first started in radio. So I started as a panel operator, and I still am now.
That's
and
pretty. You've got a good gig.
But yeah, no, look, it's one of those jobs you can just you know, I don't worry too much about it. Just, you know, go the next day and start us again. You know, it's one of those
I'm gonna hit you up with my out of 10. It's a new segment we've got.
Oh.
It's called Out of 10.
I would have bought my sound effects machine if I'd known this is going to go on.
Hang on a
Okay.
minute.
Thank you.
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
Okay, I'm just going to say a name.
Yeah.
10 being the best.
Yeah.
1 being the worst.
Okay.
Neil Mitchell.
7.
Steve Price. Don't worry, they'll never
next.
watch it. They'll never
No,
watch
no, 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 no. No, I don't mean that. That's
I know he never watches.
I'm going to give him 6.5.
6.5. Molly Meldrum.
Oh, Molly, fantastic. 10.
10.
Yeah, lovely guy. Yeah, lovely guy.
Red Symons.
He's a 11.
Aaron Finch.
He's up there too. He's a definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, great to the people he worked with. I mean,
Cool.
you know, there's obviously the public persona and the radio thing, and that's
the
that's
human
the
headline.
act. But as a personable chap, he was great. And but look, you know, Red and I connected, and I did work with Molly for several years because I produced a radio program for him, a country radio program called The Drum.
Oh, right.
So which was really me waiting around for Molly a lot and chasing him, and he was great. But Molly is just such an open guy to people that you'd be walking down the street with Molly, and then someone would say, "Hi, Molly," and that'd be it. Half an hour's gone, you know. And you sit there going, "Molly, we've got a show to produce,"
wow.
you know.
That's
and
nice.
but so he's really nice to people like that. So you know, you can sort of forgive him for that. I did frighten my wife once when I got home at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she said to me, "Gee, you're late." I said, "Yeah," and I'm getting to bed. I said, "Oh, I saw Molly's tattoo. It's on his bum," and she just leapt out of the bed and went, "What?" And because Molly's got Cowboy O'Neill St Kilda player on his bum cheek.
Oh.
It's well known. It's no secret.
I thought he would have had directions like arrows or something. Ross, on that lovely note, shall we move to our next beer?
Yes. Now this is. You could probably say this because
Schnitzerbrau.
Schnitzerbrau, and this is obviously an overseas one, and we think it's German because of the name. But there is an Italian one which has a very similar name, I think.
I know a little German.
Do you?
He's standing over there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Boom tish.
Boom.
We would have done that.
All right. Well, we're going to go. You have this one.
Yeah,
we got no gushes today.
Yeah. So no,
I think Alan shakes them up behind the green screen.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. That one. Let's try this.
Yeah, no, as I say, Red is a lovely chap.
He was very nice when I met him. I have to say, I meet a lot of famous people, as you know, Ross, and I was a bit starstruck by Red. I love Red because when I was a child, like he was a big deal to me. I had the Skyhooks t-shirt. Okay, let's talk. You've met a lot of people because you're doing a radio show. Was there anyone that you had an experience with that you were like, oh my God, this is, now I'm a bit nervous.
I'm going to tell you.
Take me out of the picture and my experience.
Apart from you,
I'm intimidated.
Look, I'm a big Beatles fan, and I can just quickly tell you why. This is probably back in the late 70s, and Molly was doing a show on Channel 7 with, I think, a magician guy called Ian Buckland. Right. This is my memory of it. Yeah. And Molly's decided to do this 1 hour special on the Beatles.
Yeah.
I watched it and I was just hooked. So they were well and truly broken up,
Yeah.
And in fact they were sort of considered a bit daggy, I think, by the time I got into it.
Yes.
But so I just think I started off at Abbey Road and worked my way back, and because the new wave punk thing happened, by the time I worked my way back into the early albums, it was just guitars, bass, and drums, and that's what punk was doing, and that's what I thought. Well, it wasn't that far removed from that. So of course, thanks to my lovely wife. She organised me to attend a recording of an interview. I was the person holding the tape recorder with Paul McCartney.
That's a big one.
It was a tour in the what was it?
Was it a Wings tour or a solo tour?
No, it was a solo tour. It was it was in the early 90s or late 80s. It was right. He was in his prime. He was I guess he was in his 40s then, but he decided to do all the Beatles stuff. So. So I went with Margaret Fletcher, who was the afternoon presenter on 3AW, and Lisa was the producer, and she teed it up. And that was, I was just like, wow, and I had the Nagra.
Amazing.
The Nagra. I had to carry, I think it was old technology even then, and she got the only interview. And it was that weird thing, and it was actually Steve Price who actually said it. He said,
he was a 6 out of 10, Steve Price.
No, he said, it's complicated.
That's right.
And he said he was one who pointed out that the fact that you know all about them and they know nothing about you. Yeah. So I felt quite comfortable because it was all like, oh, my mate Paul, I know all about. That's nothing about me, of course.
Like my brother.
He's a nice enough guy, It's one of those things. So it was actually strangely comfortable, and he was, of course, nice. He's got no reason not to be.
Yes.
And of course, lucky enough to meet twice. George Martin.
Oh yeah! Wow,
so,
amazing.
Yeah, and I did get him to sign my mono version of Sgt. Pepper's.
And George Martin and Paul McCartney signed an album for you, or
no? This is just I got George to sign this one, and he did look at it and said, "This is the copy. This is the best copy, the mono version." Oh, this is before all these, reissues. He said, "Nah, I found this one for $25 or some in a market." And it was pristine.
Wow.
It had all the bits and pieces in it too.
Wow.
And he just said, "This is it. This is the one."
That's amazing.
And so I thought, cool. And he was
he a nice guy?
He was lovely. Again, he was very, as you'd expect, very British, but he was a nice chap. But look, I always think the bigger they are, the sort of friendlier they are. I guess they've got people to do the nasty stuff, But and. I was just going to say the most impressive was who was that country artist, Garth Brooks. Remember Garth Brooks?
Yeah. He sort of vanished for a long time.
Yeah,
but he was a Massive deal.
He came into the radio station and there had to be, you know, so people wanted things signed, and so there had to be at least 10 radio station staff and bits and bobs who turned up. And he was introduced to everyone. And then he went and did the interview, which was probably went for about 20 minutes. And then he came out of that interview and said, thank you, John, thank you, Michael, thank you, Sarah, thank you, thank you, Ross.
He knew everybody's name.
He remembered everybody's name. It was like, oh, you're really good at this PR stuff. He walked out, he just knew everyone's name. It was
that's like an Anthony Robbins.
Really, and you know, you feel sort of special when they remember your name.
Speaking of remembering your name, Ross.
Yes. Anthony.
What do you have on your phone for us?
Oh, well, you know.
Let's have a look at your T-shirt, because
the man who introduced me to your store,
yes,
Andrew Heasley, my good friend and guitar player.
Yes. Oh, hang on. Let's have a look at this thing. Are you ready, viewers?
Here we go.
This is a show that it doesn't quite rate as well, but well, look, I'm going to give him a break. I'm going to give him a break here, and let's see if we can do this. Oh, there's Ross.
Now you can see this T-shirt because I do get lost sometimes on YouTube, and I discovered this program, Anderton's Music, and several years ago, and I do go down the rabbit hole with them occasionally. You know.
Oh man, it's great.
But it was my birthday yesterday. Thank you for wishing me happy birthday.
That's right. Happy birthday, Ross.
Good. And Andrew, who happens, my friend Andrew, who actually got me this T-shirt a couple of years ago, happens to be in London at the moment. And then he sent me this video.
Happy birthday, Ross. Happy birthday. 29 again. Keep going. So enjoy your day, and hello from everyone at Anderton's.
Anderton's. Good on you guys. Isn't that great? Imagine, would you do that for a punter that walked in and said, can I have a birthday message?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
you wouldn't.
I would set Panda, if I do a double hand clap, Panda springs up and attacks. So, attack, get out of here. Well, you know, we're always about helping, you know, the less fortunate out. And Anderton's, well, I'm here to help you boost up those ratings. What have they got, like 100 million people watching them now?
At least, yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, they're always at NAM, and they. What do you reckon?
We're going to have to rate some beers. Before we do that, I'll just see who's online saying hello. We've got Michael Ray. Brenton Kite from Brisbane is on. Hello, Brenton. Les Paul Gibson. He has that legally now, that name. Marty Oak. Wicked looking telly. Yes. I love the look of that telly. Is it for sale? Not. What did Charlton Heston say when they tried to take the gun from him? Not over my cold dead hands.
Every man has his price.
Yeah. Or, you know, for $4,000. I'll let it go. Is there anyone on YouTube with us? Oh, Sir Nigel. Hello, Sir Nigel. Cheers, boys. Any stories about that concert? Concerts. Now, we had a 10-year... It's 10 years since I've been in this shop, Ross, and we had a 10-year anniversary show this morning. And so Nigel was telling a story about split ends reforming and doing Icy Red, and who should walk out but Red.
Yes, but he didn't do any. He wandered around behind them. Is that the one? And
that would be the one.
They were a little bit put out by that, I believe.
Oh, he was supposed to walk out in front.
I think that's all he did. I think it was probably the mushroom, one of those mushroom concerts.
Like that,
and he would have just been. He was just being naughty.
He was being naughty.
They were
so he was there, but he didn't. Right.
But he didn't. No. So that's
he is kind of naughty. What's he doing with himself now? Is he on? He's had a bit of a tragedy in his life, and
yes, his son unfortunately passed away. So yeah, that was terrible. And
how's he doing overall?
Oh, look, you know,
as good as
tough
you can do.
when you.
Is he still doing the 3AW slot?
He's doing Neil Mitchell every 2 weeks, I think, and loving it and sounding good doing that. So you know, look, as I say, he's always had bits and pieces. I mean, he did a stage show just up in Sydney several months ago. Just goes up there. It was a one night thing. Came back. Yeah. You know, look, that's his life anyway. I guess it's just really back to being what he's done, which is sort of bits and pieces now. I'm surprised he hasn't got a full-time radio gig.
Let me chuck this at you.
Yeah.
Okay. Full-time radio gig for Red. He calls you up. Tubby, I need you ASAP. Boom. What do you do? What are you going to do?
How much money? That's what we're talking
Whatever
about.
you
I'm
want.
at the age.
It's a 3AW gig, so it's unlimited supply.
Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, it was a long time ago since I
Is it one of
entered
the
that,
morning dudes retiring or something soon, or what's going on over there?
Oh,
3AW.
there was a talk. There was talk, but I don't know whether that's
sticking it
happening now. Yeah, you know, they often float these ideas depending on
Okay.
when the contract negotiation comes up, and you know, it's all a bit of play, really.
Okay.
But,
Rumour confirmation time. I heard a rumour that John Howard did not like cans or earphones on his ears because it made him look like Mickey Mouse or something.
That is true. He would instead bring his own little attachment that you plug in, and it was one of those little earpieces you couldn't see, although you could see the curly thing going down. But you know, so you stick in there. And the reason why I don't, if you notice, I don't wear these like because I always wear cans like this in the studio, because in the studio this is what's happening on air, and this is what's happening in delay. So I always keep the delay side off my ear, because obviously I don't want to be thrown. So then if we have to come out of delay or edit, I can just put them on and then hit the dump button.
So
that's what I
delay,
used to do.
how long is the delay? 7 seconds?
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Used to be 7. Back in the early days, we wound a 7-second cartridge, and it would record the 7 seconds of program, then spew it out to the transmitter. But of course, digital came along, and that was originally 7 seconds, only because I think that's what we wound carts to that length. And then, of course, now it's 10 seconds. They've made everyone's.
Is that when like someone like Jeff from Eltham calls up and he's like, you know, that march in St Kilda, it really wasn't right-wing white power at all, and then boom, you cut him.
Well, that's not a very good example. I don't know. I would let him have his say, but if it said the
he sweared or something.
the word, the C word, would be the word I would tend to
What's the level of, because you know how on YouTube and we can say whatever we want, and what's the level of swearing allowed on radio?
Okay, here's the classic. You know the song CeeLo Green. Fuck You, I think it's called. Is that the official title? Well, it won Song of the Year a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And Red and I
haven't listened to a song since 1971.
Being the winner of the Song of the Year or whatever it was,
play it.
we should play it as the artist intended. And we had a little stoush with the other producer, the girl.
Yeah.
Officially known as the girl.
Hello,
Tina
girl.
Palmer is her name.
Yes.
Is her name. She works with John Fane. And she didn't want to go there. She was like, no, because they changed. They did a re-recorded with Forget You, I think it's
okay.
Anyway, no, but we were like, let's do it as the artist intended. Give big warning, huge warning. Red, make sure you talk about it for the 20 minutes that you're going to play it at a certain time, and if you're going to be offended, switch off. So he did all that. We played the song. No one said anything for several weeks, except we got a note, a complaint from someone in Queensland.
Were they
At a certain time of day, they could hear ABC Radio Melbourne at a certain time, and just happened to be listening and heard that and was offended. So, but I think the fact that we give them plenty of warning, and as say it was as the artist intended, that was probably good enough. But look, it's all within reason. If it's in context, absolutely, you can let it go. And look, my thing is, talk stations particularly, we're big people, we're adults. You have to remember that. Yeah. So everything within reason, and if it's gratuitous, of course you dump it. But I think within reason it's okay.
Well, Ross, last question. We're going to rate these beers.
Yes.
But how is your morning show going at the moment?
It's the breakfast program. You
breakfast
keep saying
program?
The morning show, and I think that's John Fane is the official morning.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. So there's breakfast.
So the new hosts are Jacinta Parsons and
Sammy
Shah. And look, it's like all new programs. It takes a while to bed down. It takes a while to find your feet and, get your mojo. And I think, the theory is, for a new program, you have to give it at least 2 years to do that. So we're got through the first year, and now we're on to the second year.
You get to hear Sammy and Jacinta and Tubby. Are they still calling you Tubby, or they've changed your name a bit? I hope not. I hope not.
They don't call me Tubby
that
anymore.
That is so rude.
They call me Ray. No one knows who I am anymore.
Michael Ray does. Michael
Thanks,
Ray.
Michael.
He knows where you live, apparently, too. Now, Ross, let's rate these beers, and then I think we might actually do some guitar.
Oh.
We've been yakking a bit, but we'll jam
Guitar,
out.
yeah.
What do you give the Schnitzerbrow?
Oh, look, it is probably one of the best ones, and I'd give it. I'm going to give it. I've actually got 2 new ones in the fridge at home.
All right.
Which I'm really interested to try. But these ones, this one, I'd have to give. I'm going to give it a 9.
Oh, we're going. Oh, it's out of 5. It's out of 5. Sorry. The 10 is
Okay.
for
I'm gonna
when I give you like Steve Price,
I'm
who
gonna
was a
give-
4.
I'm going to give it
That's what we go.
a 4.5. Then.
This is. I mean, Steve Price 4 out of 10. That's what Ross said. Oh, you're going to go 4. Okay. I'm going to
going
go
4.
low on this. I think there's too much sugar in it. I think there's a lot of sugar in that.
Oh, really?
It feels a bit sugary.
I have to say, I did have quickly. I did have one, and I thought, oh, it tasted all right. And it wasn't until I read the back, and it was caramel. They'd added caramel and all the sugar. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
there's a lot
forget
of
it. So
sugar.
that went in
It's
the
too
bin.
much sugar.
But okay, well, all right.
I'll go
sugar.
2.5. 2 to
Oh.
2.5 for me. Yeah, it's a bit too sugary.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I'm going to go high on the O'Brien Pale Ale. I really like
Okay,
that.
I'm just going to quickly do the 2 sip.
Go for that. Do you like this one too?
Now you've pointed out the sugar.
Yeah. Well, you can
thinking
taste it.
you're
It's a
probably
little
right.
bit sweet.
Yeah.
But that's just a bit more.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give this 5 then
Okay. I'll go 4.
for gluten free.
I'll go 5. Well, why not? I'll go 5 for gluten-free. For a gluten-free beer, that's unbelievably good.
Yeah,
I have to
yeah,
say,
okay.
It's delicious.
No, that's fair enough.
But the
I get where
a
you're
little
coming
bit
from.
sweet. But I
Yeah,
can see
no.
why people would like that because it's got that. It's sweet.
When
So-
I had my recording studio at 3AW, copywriter myself, every Friday we'd have the beer club, and we had to have 2 beers that we'd never had before. And what we did rate them, and we probably should have kept notes and wrote a book, but we didn't. And what I do, I had a shelf around the studio.
Yes.
I put all the bottles as we'd, and it was great talking point for clients that came in to record their ads, and it was, the management hated it. It's like, these bottles are really, it's not a good look. It's probably, these days you wouldn't do it, but back then it was sort of like, but the clients love it. It's the first thing they do. They'll go, oh, what does that beer like? And so it was actually like, it broke you, you just made it more relaxing with people. It had something to talk about rather than standing there going, oh.
I'm a big fan of having a bar in every business establishment. In fact, when I worked for the ANZ, we had a bar at the ANZ, and we used to drink from that until Jimmy went and vomited all over his computer, and then the honcho.
Did he?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
he
did.
ruined it for all of you, didn't he?
I'm not even making this up. I worked at the ANZ back in the very early 2000s, and on a Friday, that's when I had a normal job, and on a Friday, someone would say, "Hey, should we go to the bank pub?" I think it was the Mitre Tavern, maybe Mitre Tavern. We'll go to the bank pub for a drink, So we'd go out at 12:30, and of course, someone would say, we've got to go back and log off. So we'd come back at like 10 to 5. So we'd be drinking all afternoon at this pub. And then one day, John Elliott joined us for a drink. You know John Elliott?
Yes.
So we're drinking. And then, of course, we went back. And then we had the bar fridge at work. So we would just keep drinking all night at the, and unfortunately someone vomited all over their machine. They tried to log off and...
Yes, that's unfortunate.
Unprofessional.
Yeah, and ruin it for you.
Well, we're going to jam out, folks. We're going to take a Dorian backing track and test out adding an F sharp and a B to an A minor pentatonic scale. We're going to do whatever we want. We're going to do it.
Okay.
If you've got any questions for Ross, now is the time to write it in. And after this, because we're going to get out of here. Ross has got a life. I don't. I'll be here, finishing
all night.
gluten-free beers all night and
Absolutely.
whatnot. Here we go. This
Thanks for
is some sort of Dorian-y groove. Ross, take it away. Ooh, turn yourself up. Oh. Ross Kavanagh. That was very sweet, very tasty,
Thanks.
very tasty. Much
good
like
fun.
the O'Brien Pale Ale. I'm not sure about my little German friend.
Schnitzerbrau.
Schnitzerbrau! Hogan! Whenever I hear. Ross, a customary handshake for coming in.
Thanks, Colonel.
I know it's hot outside. It's a long way to
I don't
travel.
wanna
You've
go out
come
there.
from the
It's
north
terrible.
side. It's at least a 2-hour trip from. Are you on? Where you're north? North.
Preston.
Have they called it North Thornbury yet?
Yeah, I think some people probably do. Those trendy ones, yeah. But not
North
me. It's Preston-
Thornbury.
It's Preston to me.
Or Preston?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool up there.
Good.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks,
I love
Colonel.
all those stories.
We'll see ya.
And fancy playing, sir. That's coming along. Sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, are there any questions for Ross before we go? Questions for Ross? You guys are awesome. Well, fair enough. Okay. Oh, it's Lisa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. on
That's
you.
a ring in.
Thanks, Lisa.
That's like, did she call up the station and say that? It's Lisa from North Thornbury. Lisa Smith. Amanda Smith. Hello, Amanda. Amanda Smith, I love the Gibson. Yes, I love it. This is I don't even know if it's a 2006 flame top Les Paul. We've gone Les Paul mad at the moment. Solid.
Yeah, right.
No chambers. And Ross is on my 51 Tele Relic.
Beautiful. Love it.
Man, that
Great.
playing was fun. We should have done
Yeah,
some
that's
more
good.
playing,
I
but I
love
like
that.
the stories. Thanks, Ross. That was gluten-free beers with Ross. It's pretty rare we get to do it. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, and we might get Ross back another time.
Yeah, great.
Or I'm going to come and work with Ross at the ABC at some point.
No way, no.
Yeah, okay.
That can happen.
We're out of here, folks. Thanks for watching, everybody.